The council chamber was massive. It floated in space near a dying star, and its walls were made of clear material that showed the universe outside. Thousands of alien species filled the seats. Some had wings. Some had scales. Others looked like floating clouds of gas. They all came from different worlds across the galaxy. Admiral Ji-hoon Kim stood at the speaker's platform. He wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic fleet. His hair was gray at the temples. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were sharp. Behind him stood Ambassador Soo-jin Lee. She held a data pad with shaking hands. This was their moment. This was what humanity had worked toward for 50 years. 50 years ago, humans had been welcomed into the Galactic Council as provisional members. They called it provisional because humans were young. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 200 years before. Most species in the Council had been flying through space for thousands of years. Some for tens of thousands, but humans had worked hard. They shared their medical knowledge. Human doctors had cured 3 diseases that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. They shared their farming methods. Human food now fed billions across dozens of worlds. They fought in the Council's defense forces. Human soldiers had died protecting alien worlds from pirates and raiders. They had earned this moment, or so they thought. Ji-hoon cleared his throat. The chamber grew quiet. 10,000 eyes of every color and shape turned toward him. Honored members of the Galactic Council, he began. His voice was steady. Humanity comes before you today to request full membership status. For 5 decades we have contributed to this great alliance. We have shared our knowledge freely. We have defended Council space with our lives. We have paid every tribute asked of us. We believe we have earned the right to vote on Council matters. We believe we have earned the right to be heard as equals. Soo-jin stepped forward. She activated a hologram that showed charts and numbers. Human contributions to galactic medicine, human agricultural output, human military service records. The numbers were impressive. In just 50 years, humanity had become vital to the Council's economy and defense. We ask only for what we have earned, Soo-jin said. Her voice was softer than Ji-hoon's but equally clear. Equal representation, equal voice, equal rights under Council law. The presentation ended. The hologram faded. Ji-hoon and Soo-jin stood together, waiting for the Council's response. High Chancellor Vector rose from his throne. He was tall, nearly 3 meters high. His skin was purple and covered in scales. His eyes were golden and cold. He had ruled the Galactic Council for 200 years. He looked down at the humans like a man might look at insects. The Council has reviewed your petition, Vector said. His voice boomed through the chamber. It has been rejected, just like that. No discussion. No debate. Rejected. Soo-jin's face went pale. Ji-hoon's jaw tightened, but he said nothing yet. Vector continued. Humanity is too young. Too primitive. Your species discovered space travel only yesterday in galactic terms. You think 50 years of service earns you a seat at this table? Some species here have served for 5,000 years before gaining full membership. You are children playing at being adults. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not all species laughed, but enough did. The sound echoed off the walls like mockery given voice. Counselor Thrain stood next. He was shorter than Vector, but wider. His species looked like walking rocks. He managed the Council's economic affairs. In fact, Thrain said, we believe humanity should increase its tribute payments. Your worlds are prosperous. Your colonies are growing. It is only fair that you contribute more to the Council's maintenance. Soo-jin could not stay quiet. Increase our tribute? We already pay more per capita than most full members. We contribute our technology freely. We ask for nothing except recognition of our contributions. This is not fair. This is exploitation. Vector's eyes narrowed. You forget your place, human. The Council has spoken. You will accept our decision with gratitude. We could easily revoke your provisional status entirely. Then where would you be? Alone in a galaxy full of dangers. You need us far more than we need you. More laughter. Louder this time. Someone in the back shouted something in an alien language. Others responded with what sounded like agreement. Ji-hoon placed a hand on Soo-jin's shoulder. She was shaking with anger. He gently moved her aside and stepped forward again. May I ask a question, High Chancellor? Ji-hoon said. His voice was quiet now. Dangerous quiet. Vector waved a clawed hand dismissively. Speak quickly. This matter is concluded. When humanity joined this council 50 years ago, we were promised fair treatment. We were told that if we contributed, If we proved ourselves worthy, we would be accepted as equals. Were those promises lies? Vector smiled. It was not a kind smile. Promises to children can be broken when the children misbehave. You have contributed, yes, but you overestimate your value. Your medical knowledge? Interesting but not essential. Your agriculture? Useful but replaceable. Your military service? You have lost more ships than you have saved. You are a net drain on council resources, and yet you demand voting rights? Absurd. The words hung in the air like poison. Every human in the chamber felt them. The insult was complete and deliberate. In the human delegation section, Captain Dongwu Choi sat with his fists clenched. Dr. Mina Song stared at her datapad, her mind already racing. Commander Hyun Park watched everything with cold eyes, memorizing faces. Ji-hoon stood perfectly still for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. I see, he said. Thank you for your honesty, High Chancellor. It is valuable to know where one truly stands. He turned to face the human delegation. He made a small gesture. Everyone understood. They stood as one. Vector frowned. Where are you going? The council session is not finished. There are other matters to discuss. Ji-hoon looked back over his shoulder. We have heard enough. You have made your position clear. We will now consider ours. The humans walked out. All of them. Their boots echoed on the metal floor. The sound was like a drumbeat. Slow, steady, final. Behind them, the council chamber buzzed with confused voices. Some species seemed worried. Most seemed amused. Vector waved his hand again. Let them go, he said. They will return within a week, begging for forgiveness. Humans are emotional creatures. They throw tantrums like children. They will calm down and remember they have nowhere else to go. In the hallway outside, Ji-hoon gathered his people. They formed a circle around him. He looked at each face. Opinions? He asked. Sujin spoke first. They will never accept us. I spent 10 years here. I believed in this council. I was wrong. They see us as tools, resources to exploit. Nothing more. Dongwu nodded. My ships have bled for them. My crews have died defending their worlds, and they call us a drain on their resources. I say we leave today. Mina looked up from her datapad. I have been running calculations. The council's economy depends on human contributions more than they realize. Our agriculture alone feeds 32 worlds. Our medical technology is integrated into every major hospital. If we leave, they will suffer. Badly. Hyun smiled. It was a cold smile. They think we need them. They are about to learn the truth. Ji-hoon looked at them all. Then he looked back toward the council chamber. Through the walls, he could hear the sound of continued discussion. They were already moving on to other business. Humanity forgotten. Send a message to Earth, Ji-hoon said. Emergency priority. Tell them what happened here. Tell them I am recommending full withdrawal from the Galactic Council. Tell them we are coming home. Sujin hesitated. This is a huge decision. It will change everything. Yes, Ji-hoon said. It will. But we cannot stay where we are not wanted. We cannot serve those who despise us. If they will not have us as equals, then they cannot have us at all. He paused. Send the message. We are done here. The human embassy complex was chaos. People ran through the hallways carrying boxes and data drives. Computers were being wiped. Files were being encrypted and sent back to Earth. The message had gone out 6 hours ago. Now came the response. Ji-hoon stood in the command center watching screens that showed similar scenes across the galaxy. Every human embassy, every human trade post, every human scientific station, all of them were packing up. All of them were preparing to leave. Earth had responded within 2 hours. The vote in the United Earth government had been almost unanimous. 543 votes to leave, only 12 votes to stay. The decision was made. Humanity was withdrawing from the Galactic Council. Mina walked into the command center. She looked tired but energized. She had been working non-stop since they left the council chamber. Project Aurora is ready, she said. All the files are secured. Every piece of human technology we shared with the council has been pulled from their databases. They will not be able to replicate our work. Ji-hoon nodded. Good, what about the research stations? Already evacuated. We pulled our scientists from the joint research facilities. We took all our data with us. The council scientists are very confused right now. Mina smiled. It was a tired smile, but a real one. They are just starting to realize how much of their research depended on human contributions. Hyun entered next. He carried a datapad and looked pleased with himself. Operation Clean House is complete, he reported. Every human asset in council space is accounted for. Every agent has been extracted. Every piece of intelligence has been secured. And I left them a little gift. Jihoon raised an eyebrow. What kind of gift? I may have copied some interesting files before we wiped our access to their systems. Financial records, communication logs, evidence of corruption and exploitation going back centuries. Nothing classified, nothing illegal to possess. Just facts. Public records that nobody bothered to look at closely. Hyun's smile grew. I thought the galaxy might find them educational. Dongwoo was the last to arrive. He commanded the human fleet stationed at the council space dock. 50 ships of various sizes. Warships, transports, medical vessels, and science ships. The fleet is ready to depart, he said. All ships are loaded. All crews are aboard. The council dockmaster is having a breakdown. He says we cannot leave without proper clearance. I told him to file a complaint with our embassy. Then I reminded him we are closing our embassy. Sujin stood by the window looking out at the stars. She had been quiet since the council meeting. Now she turned to face the others. I spent 10 years building relationships here, she said. Her voice was sad but steady. I believed in the dream of galactic unity. I thought we could be part of something greater than ourselves. I was naive, Jihoon walked over to her. You were not naive. You were hopeful. There is a difference. But hope must be met with respect. They gave us neither. What happens now? Sujin asked. Now we go home. We build our own way. We prove that humanity does not need the council to thrive. Jihoon looked at all of them. We will show them what they threw away. 2 hours later, Jihoon stood before a camera. The message would be broadcast to every corner of council space. Every species would see it. Every government would hear it. This was humanity's final statement. He wore his full dress uniform. Behind him stood the flags of Earth and the human colonies. His face was calm. His voice was clear. People of the galaxy, he began. I speak to you today on behalf of humanity. 50 years ago, we joined the Galactic Council with hope and enthusiasm. We believed in cooperation. We believed in unity. We worked hard to contribute to galactic civilization. Today, we asked for what we had earned. Equal membership. Equal voice. Equal respect. We were denied. More than denied. We were insulted. We were told we are too young. Too primitive. Too worthless to deserve a seat at the table. Very well. If we are not wanted as equals, then we will not stay at all. Effective immediately, humanity is withdrawing from the Galactic Council. We are recalling all our embassies. We are pulling our ships from council space. We are ending all technology sharing agreements. We are closing our borders, he paused. Let the words sink in. This is not a negotiating tactic. This is not a threat. This is a final decision. Humanity will go its own way. We will build our own future. We do not need the council. We never did. To those species who treated us fairly, who respected us, who saw us as partners rather than servants, we thank you. We will remember you. Perhaps one day we will meet again under better circumstances. To the council leadership we say this. You had a chance to be great. You had a chance to build something truly inclusive. You chose pride over wisdom, arrogance over justice. You will live with the consequences of that choice. Goodbye, Galactic Council. Humanity is going home, the broadcast ended. The message spread across the galaxy faster than light. Within hours, every civilized world had seen it. The reaction was immediate and varied. Some species were shocked. Some were amused. Some were worried. The council leadership was furious. High Chancellor Vector called an emergency session. The council chamber filled quickly. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next. This is an outrage, Vector declared. His voice shook with anger. Humanity has no right to make such demands. They were given provisional status. That was a gift, a privilege, and they throw it back in our faces? Councillor Thrain stood. Let them go. They are nothing. Their economy will collapse within months. Their colonies will starve without council trade. They will come crawling back, begging for readmission, and when they do, we will demand heavy penalties for this insult. But Ambassador Ryloth, a junior member from a small species, raised a tentative hand. He was young and idealistic. He had always spoken kindly of humans. With respect, High Chancellor, Ryloth said carefully. Perhaps we should consider the implications. Humanity contributes significantly to our medical systems, our agricultural output, and our defense forces. Their sudden departure could cause disruptions. Vector waved a dismissive hand. Temporary disruptions. Nothing more. We have thousands of species in this council. The loss of one insignificant newcomer changes nothing. They need us far more than we need them. The council voted to take no action. They would not pursue humanity. They would not negotiate. They would simply wait for the inevitable return. Meanwhile, at the space docks, the human fleet prepared to depart. Dongwu stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Terra Nova. It was a beautiful ship, sleek and powerful, built by human hands using human technology. Around him, his crew worked efficiently. They had trained for this moment without knowing it. Every system was checked. Every engine was ready. Every weapon was armed. They were not expecting trouble, but they were prepared for it. All ships report ready, Captain, his second officer said. Dongwu nodded. Good. Send to all ships, maintain formation. No aggressive actions unless fired upon. We are leaving with dignity. Understood? Understood, sir. The fleet began to move. 50 ships rising from the docks in perfect formation. They flew past the council station, past the massive structure that had been the center of galactic politics for 10,000 years. Through the viewports, aliens watched them go. Some waved, some looked confused. Most just stared. Jihoon stood on the bridge of his ship at the center of the formation. He looked back one last time at the council station. It grew smaller in the distance. Soon it was just another point of light among the stars. Set course for Earth, he ordered. Course plotted. Sir, all ships prepare for jump to hyperspace. One by one, the human ships activated their faster-than-light drives. Space rippled around them. Reality bent, and then they were gone. Behind them, they left empty docking bays, closed embassies, abandoned offices, and a galaxy that was about to learn a very expensive lesson. The departure was complete. Humanity was going home, and they were never coming back. 3 months passed. Human space was silent. Every attempt to contact Earth received the same automated response. The Terran Federation does not accept communications from Galactic Council members at this time. All previous agreements are void. Do not approach human borders without prior authorization. The message was polite. It was professional. It was also completely final. At first, the Council barely noticed. They were busy with their own affairs. Thousands of species, millions of worlds. Surely the loss of one young species would not matter. But slowly, cracks began to show. On the agricultural world of Thalos, the harvest was failing. For 30 years, they had used human farming techniques, human crop rotation methods, human fertilizer formulas. Now those formulas were gone. The data files had been deleted. The human advisors had left. The crops were dying and no one knew how to fix it. The governor of Thalos sent an urgent message to the council. They needed help. They needed food imports. They needed those human farming methods back. Councillor Thrain dismissed the concern. One world. They can import food from elsewhere. This is not a crisis. But Thalos was not the only world with problems. In the Kepler sector, trade routes were collapsing. Human merchant ships had carried goods between the Council worlds and the Outer Rim. Fast ships, reliable ships, cheap ships. Now they were gone. Other species tried to fill the gap, but their ships were slower. Their rates were higher. Goods that used to arrive in days now took weeks. Prices began to rise. On the medical station orbiting Draconis Prime, doctors faced a crisis. A plague had broken out. Normally, they would treat it with a human-developed vaccine, but the vaccine formula was gone. Deleted from the databases. The human doctors who knew how to make it had left. People were dying, and the Council's own medical technology was not good enough. The head doctor sent a desperate plea to Earth. Just the formula. Just the information. They would pay anything. The response was the same automated message. Request denied. Ambassador Ryloth sat in his small office reviewing reports. The numbers were alarming. Food production was down across 15 sectors. Trade efficiency had dropped by 30%. Medical emergencies were rising, and it had only been 3 months. He brought his findings to the council. High Chancellor Vector listened with a bored expression. These are minor inconveniences, Vector said. Temporary adjustments. The galaxy functioned for thousands of years before humans arrived. It will function after they leave. With respect, High Chancellor, the data suggest otherwise. Human contributions were more significant than we realized. Their technology was integrated deeply into our systems. Their absence is causing real harm. Ryloth tried to keep his voice steady. Vector's eyes narrowed. Are you suggesting we made a mistake in rejecting their petition? I am suggesting we should reconsider our position. Perhaps we could reach out to them. Negotiate new terms? Absolutely not. The Council does not negotiate with children throwing tantrums. They will return when they realize they cannot survive alone. We simply need to wait them out. But waiting was becoming expensive. Councillor Thrain sent trade envoys to the human border. 3 ships carrying luxury goods and trade proposals. They reached the edge of human space and requested permission to enter. A human patrol ship intercepted them. It was small compared to Council vessels. Just a frigate. But it moved with precision and confidence. The human captain's face appeared on the screen. She was young, professional. Her uniform was crisp and clean. This is Captain Jiwoo Han of the Terran Federation Border Guard. You are approaching restricted space. State your purpose. The trade envoy leader, a merchant from a wealthy species, smiled in what he thought was a friendly way. We come in peace. We wish to discuss trade agreements. We have valuable goods. We can offer excellent terms. Jiwoo's expression did not change. The Terran Federation is not accepting trade proposals from Galactic Council members. You need to leave, but surely we can discuss this. Perhaps if we could speak to someone in authority. I am the authority here. You have 10 minutes to reverse course. If you do not comply, you will be escorted out by force. This is your only warning. The merchant tried to argue. Jiwoo simply cut the communication. Her ship's weapons powered up. Not aimed. Just ready? The message was clear. The trade envoy turned around and left. Inside human space, life continued. In fact, it was better than before. On Earth, Mina stood in her laboratory surrounded by equipment and screens. She had not slept much in 3 months. She did not need to. This was the most exciting time of her life. Jihoon visited her lab. He found her staring at a holographic display of a massive structure orbiting in space. Is that it? He asked. Mina smiled. That is it. The shield network. Construction is complete. We are running final tests now. Will it work? It will work. I have been developing this technology for 5 years. We just needed time to build it. Time we now have without council oversight and restrictions. Her smile grew wider. When I activate this, nothing in the galaxy will be able to touch us. Not the council fleet, not anyone. Jihoon looked at the hologram. Dozens of satellites positioned around every human world, every colony, every space station, all connected by quantum links, all powered by fusion reactors. It was beautiful and terrifying. How long until it is operational? 2 weeks, maybe less. Good, because I think we will need it soon. Meanwhile, Hyun was working on something else. He sat in a secure room with no windows, just computers and encrypted communication lines. He was preparing his gift for the galaxy. All those files he had copied from the council databases. Financial records showing centuries of corruption. Communications proving systematic exploitation of younger species. Evidence of bribes, threats, and broken promises. It was all there, documented, undeniable. He packaged it carefully, made sure it was easy to read, easy to verify. Then he sent it out through 1,000 anonymous channels, to news organizations, to independent governments, to reform groups and activist movements across the galaxy. The information spread like wildfire. Within days, protests erupted on dozens of worlds. Smaller species that had been treated like vassals began demanding answers. Why were they paying so much in tribute? Why were their resources being exploited? Why did the council lie to them? High Chancellor Vector called another emergency session. The council chamber was tense. Angry voices filled the air. This is human sabotage, Vector declared. They released classified information to sow chaos. This is an act of war. But Ambassador Ryloth stood up again. He was not alone this time. Dozens of other junior ambassadors stood with him. These are not classified documents, High Chancellor. These are public records. The humans simply organized them and made them accessible. If the information is embarrassing, perhaps the problem is not the information but the actions it reveals. The chamber erupted in argument. Species turned on each other. Accusations flew. The unity of the council was cracking, and through it all, human space remained silent. No gloating. No threats. No communication at all. Just silence. It was the silence that scared the council most. They had expected anger. They had expected demands. They could deal with those. But this quiet independence was something else. It suggested that humanity truly did not need them. That maybe, just maybe, the council needed humanity more than humanity needed the council. 6 months after the departure, economic reports showed the damage clearly. Council GDP was down by 12%. Food security was threatened in 20 sectors. Medical capabilities had regressed by decades. Trade routes were failing. And somewhere in the darkness of human space, behind closed borders and automated warnings, humanity was building something new. Something the galaxy had never seen before. The silence continued, and the longer it lasted, the more expensive it became. 1 year. 1 full year since humanity left the Galactic Council. The council chamber was no longer the proud place it once was. Empty seats marked where species had stopped sending representatives. The walls needed repair. The lighting flickered. Even the great station itself seemed diminished somehow. High Chancellor Vector looked older. His scales had lost their shine. His golden eyes were tired. The past year had not been kind to him or his council. The economic reports were devastating. Council GDP was down by 30%. 15 worlds faced famine. Medical systems were collapsing. Trade networks had fallen apart. And every day brought new problems. Councillor Thrain stood to deliver his report. He looked defeated. The financial situation is critical. Our revenue is down by 42%. Half of that came from human tribute and trade taxes. The other half came from economic activity that depended on human goods and services. We are facing bankruptcy. Another councillor rose. 6 species have formally withdrawn from the council. 12 more are threatening to leave. They say we exploited them the same way we exploited humanity. Those leaked documents have destroyed our credibility. A military advisor spoke next. His voice was grim. Our intelligence shows that 23 independent governments have established formal diplomatic relations with the Terran Federation. They are conducting trade outside council authority. They are sharing technology. Some are even forming defense pacts. Vector slammed his fist on his throne. This cannot continue. We must bring humanity back under control. They are destroying everything we built. Ambassador Ryloth stood slowly. Over the past year, he had become the unofficial leader of the reform movement. Other young species looked to him for guidance. With all respect, High Chancellor, humanity is not destroying anything. We destroyed ourselves. We took their contributions for granted. We insulted them when they asked for fair treatment. We thought they needed us. We were wrong. So what do you suggest? Vector's voice dripped with sarcasm. That we beg them to return? I suggest we offer them what they originally asked for. Full membership. Equal representation, respect. Vector considered this. His pride fought with his desperation. Finally, desperation won. Very well. Draft a message. Invite them to return to negotiations. Tell them we are prepared to discuss new terms. The message was sent. It was carefully worded, diplomatic. It spoke of mutual benefit and renewed cooperation. It hinted at concessions without actually making promises. 2 days later, a response came back. It was not from the diplomatic corps. It was not from Earth's government. It was from Admiral Jihoon Kim himself. The message contained one word. No. That was all. Just no, not an explanation. Not a counteroffer. Just a simple final refusal. The council was shocked. They had expected negotiation. They had expected demands. They had not expected to be dismissed so completely. Meanwhile, rumors began spreading through the galaxy. Rumors about what humanity had been doing behind their closed borders. A scout ship from a neutral species had passed near human space. They detected energy readings unlike anything in council records, massive power generation, construction on a scale that seemed impossible. When they tried to get closer, they were warned away by human patrols, but they had seen enough. The scout's report reached the council. Vector read it with growing alarm. They have expanded, the scout reported. New colonies. Dozens of them. In systems we thought were too dangerous or too remote to settle. And the technology? Their ships move faster than anything we have. Their energy signatures suggest power sources beyond our understanding. Admiral Calrix, commander of the Council's military forces, reviewed the report. He laughed. It was a nervous laugh. This must be exaggerated. The scout was far away. They were guessing. Humans are advanced, yes, but not this advanced. They have only been in space for 200 years. But more reports came in. Ships from other neutral species. Independent traders who had managed to establish contact with human merchants. They all said the same thing. Humanity had not just survived isolation. They had thrived. Then came the announcement that shook the galaxy. Dr. Mina Song held a press conference. Not for the Council. For everyone. Every species. Every government. Every citizen of the galaxy who wanted to watch. The broadcast was open, public, undeniable. She stood in a laboratory surrounded by equipment. Behind her, holographic displays showed complex equations and diagrams. People of the galaxy, she began. I am Dr. Mina Song, Chief Science Advisor to the Terran Federation. Today I am pleased to announce several breakthroughs in human technology. She activated the first hologram. It showed a ship moving through space faster than light. First, we have developed a new faster-than-light drive. It is 3 times faster than current galactic standard drives. More efficient. More reliable. We call it the quantum jump drive. The second hologram appeared. It showed a defensive grid surrounding a planet. Second, we have completed construction of the shield network. This is a defensive system that makes traditional weapons obsolete. Energy weapons, kinetic weapons, even nuclear weapons. None of them can penetrate our shields. Every human world is now protected by this technology. The third hologram showed medical equipment. Third, we have advanced our medical technology significantly. We can now cure diseases that the galaxy considers terminal. We can extend lifespan by decades. We can heal injuries that were previously permanent. She paused. Let the information sink in. Some of you may wonder why we are announcing this publicly. The answer is simple. We want the galaxy to understand what was thrown away when the Council rejected us. We want you to see what cooperation could have built. We want you to know what arrogance cost you. These technologies were developed by humans, for humans. We will share them with species who treat us as equals, with governments who respect us, with people who value partnership over dominance. But we will not share them with the Galactic Council. Not now, not ever. You had your chance. You chose poorly. The broadcast ended. The galaxy erupted in chaos. Every species wanted those technologies. Every government tried to contact the Terran Federation. Trade offers poured in. Alliance proposals. Desperate pleas, humanity responded selectively. They chose their partners carefully. Species that had spoken up for them. Governments that had treated them fairly. Small nations that the Council had ignored. Within weeks, a new power block was forming. Not centered on the Council. Centered on Earth. In the Council chamber, Vector watched his empire crumble. Species were leaving. Allies were abandoning them. The economic collapse was accelerating. And humanity was building something new from the ashes. Ambassador Ryloth approached him privately. The young ambassador looked sad but determined. High Chancellor, my government has decided to withdraw from the Council. We will be seeking membership in the Terran Federation Alliance. I am sorry, but we cannot stay with a dying institution when there is a better future available. Vector nodded slowly. He had no words left. No arguments. No threats. Just acceptance of the inevitable. The revelation was complete. Humanity had not just survived without the Council. They had surpassed it. They had become the power everyone wanted to align with. And the Council that had dismissed them as primitive children was now watching their civilization fall apart, one defection at a time. Admiral Calrix stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around him floated the largest battle fleet ever assembled by the Galactic Council. 500 warships, thousands of smaller vessels, millions of soldiers. It was magnificent, overwhelming, unstoppable. At least that was what Calrix told himself. The Council had authorized military action. Not a negotiation. Not a diplomatic mission. War. They would force humanity back under Council control. They would remind these upstart children who truly ruled the galaxy. Calrix had argued for this for months. He was tired of watching the Council crumble. Tired of hearing about human superiority. Tired of the defections and the economic collapse. It was time to act. Time to show strength. High Chancellor Vector had finally agreed. The message was simple. Humanity would submit to council authority or be destroyed. There would be no third option. The fleet approached the human border. Calric sent the ultimatum ahead: surrender immediately or face annihilation. The human response came quickly. Captain Jiwoo Han appeared on his screen. She looked calm. Too calm. Admiral Calrix, you are ordered to withdraw your fleet immediately. You are violating Terran Federation space. This is your only warning. Calrix laughed. One small patrol ship was giving him warnings? Him? With 500 warships at his command? Little human, you should save your warnings for someone who might fear them. I have the largest battle fleet in galactic history. You have nothing that can stop us. Surrender now and we will show mercy. Resist and we will crush you, Jiwoo sighed. She actually sighed, like she was dealing with a difficult child. Very well. You were warned. She cut the communication. Calrix smiled. The humans were running. Typical. They talked big but ran when faced with real power. All ships advance. Engage any human vessels on sight. Target their border stations first. Show them what happens to those who defy the council. The fleet moved forward. They crossed into human space. Nothing happened. No resistance. No attacks, just empty space. Then Calrix noticed something on his sensors. Energy readings. Massive energy readings coming from everywhere at once. Surrounding his entire fleet. What is that? He demanded. His sensor officer stared at the screen in confusion. Unknown, sir. The readings are off the scale. They are coming from satellites. Thousands of them. They form a network around the entire human territory. Calrix felt the first hint of unease. The shield network. They actually built it. Should we abort, sir? No, shields can be broken. Open fire on the nearest human station. Show them our power. 100 warships targeted a human border station. It was small, lightly armed. An easy target. They fired. Energy weapons, missiles, kinetic rounds. Everything they had. The weapons hit an invisible barrier 100 kilometers from the station. The energy dissipated harmlessly. The missiles exploded in empty space. The kinetic rounds simply stopped moving and drifted away. The station was untouched. Not even scratched. Calrix stared at the display in disbelief. That is impossible. Nothing can stop that much firepower, nothing. Sir, new contacts. Human fleet incoming. On the sensors, human ships appeared, but it was not a large fleet. Just 20 ships. Against his 500, Calrix smiled again. His confidence returned. Only 20 ships? They are fools. Destroy them. The human fleet was led by Captain Dongwoo Choi on the Terra Nova. He had waited for this moment. He had prepared for this moment. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity had become. All ships engage. Execute Pattern Omega. Show them what they are dealing with. The human ships moved like nothing Calrix had ever seen. They were fast. Impossibly fast. They dodged incoming fire with precision that seemed almost supernatural. Their movements were coordinated perfectly, like they were parts of a single organism. Then they fired back. The weapons were different. Not energy beams. Not missiles. Something else. Focused pulses of energy that moved faster than light itself. They struck council ships with perfect accuracy, but they did not destroy them. Instead, the ships simply stopped working. Engines died, weapons powered down. Life support continued, but everything else went dark. Within minutes, 50 council warships were dead in space. Disabled but intact, not destroyed, neutralized. Calrix could not believe what he was seeing. How are they doing this? Sir, their weapons are targeting our power systems directly. They bypass shields. Bypass armor. They just shut everything down. And their ships are faster than anything we have. We cannot track them properly. Then fire everything. Saturate the area. They cannot dodge everything. The council fleet opened fire with everything they had. The space between the fleets lit up with weapons fire. Thousands of shots. Tens of thousands. The human ships danced through it all. They moved in patterns that seemed impossible. When shots came too close, they activated their own shields. Smaller versions of the shield network, personal protection for each ship. Not a single human ship was hit, and they kept firing. Kept disabling council ships, one after another. The battle was not a battle. It was a demonstration, a lesson in how far humanity had advanced. Commander Hyun watched from a command center on Earth. He saw the battle unfold on screens showing data from 1,000 sensors. He saw Calrix trying every tactic he knew. Nothing worked. Huon activated his own part of the plan. Human strike teams had been positioned near key Council military installations for weeks. Now they acted. Precision strikes hit weapons factories. Not the workers, not the civilians, just the factories themselves. The buildings collapsed in controlled demolitions. No casualties, but no more weapons production either. Supply depots were neutralized. Communication hubs were disabled. Military infrastructure across Council space went dark. All in the same hour. All perfectly coordinated. It was surgical, professional, devastating. Back at the battle, Calrix realized he was beaten. Half his fleet was disabled. The other half was panicking, and the human ship showed no signs of slowing down. Dongwu opened a communication channel. His face appeared on Calrix's screen. Admiral Calrix, you were warned. You chose to ignore that warning. Now you see the result. We could destroy your entire fleet. We could kill millions of your people. But we will not. That is not who we are. We are disabling your ships. We are dismantling your military infrastructure. We are ending your ability to threaten anyone. But we are not killing. Not unless you force us to. Go back to the Council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humanity is not weak. We are not primitive. We are not children. We are the future of this galaxy, and we will not be controlled. Dongwu cut the communication. The human fleet withdrew. They left the disabled Council ships floating in space. Rescue vessels would come for them eventually. The crews would survive, but they would remember this day for the rest of their lives. Calrix sat in his command chair, surrounded by dead systems and silent officers. His greatest fleet, his unstoppable armada, defeated without losing a single ship on either side. Humanity had shown mercy, but in doing so, they had shown something even more terrifying. Complete superiority, total control, the power to destroy everything and the restraint not to. News of the battle spread across the galaxy in hours. Every species heard the same story. The mighty Galactic Council fleet had been crushed by 20 human ships. Not destroyed, humiliated, and humanity had barely tried. The war was over before it really began, and everyone knew who had won.